See, let me see. Let me see if I'm live yet. All right. Let's see. Let's see. We're live. We're live. Checking to see who's here. Let me see. I see Machete left a comment. Machete en vivo en directo. That's right. That's right. It's Frank Ticas dropping knowledge, stocking papas. Had to go back some 15 minutes. We'll see who jumps on. We'll see if anybody jumps on. Once I get somebody in, we'll start. Frank Ticas dropping knowledge, stocking papas. Live. On a foolish Friday. Foolish Friday. Got 8 people watching. Shout out to everybody. What's up, OG Smalls, Machete, en vivo y directo. OG Smalls, Frank T and Familia. What's up, OG Smalls, Mr. Oxnard? Shout out to you, man. That's right, man. Mr. Oxnard, God bless you, everybody, and all your families. Rosendo, what's up, man? Nice to see you guys. That's right. Shank Kelly Big Dog. Mr. Oxnard. Hey, shout out to everybody that's watching. Got 9 people in the live. If you haven't hit the like, please do so. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We're gonna talk about a little bit about common sense. Frank Ticas dropping knowledge, talking papas live on a foolish Friday. A lot of people are out here acting foolish. Sometimes we acted foolish. I know I acted foolish for a long time. And as a matter of fact, acting foolish for a while was even deemed cool. It was seemed cool to be a fool, to go out there, not think, and just jump into any kind of problem, any kind of situation, any kind of disturbance. Sometimes if you were the first one to jump in without thinking about it, like a fool, you were considered down. You were considered that guy, that girl. But fuck all of that. That's some foolish ass shit. We ain't doing none of that no more. We're going to talk about some common sense today. We're going to see if we have common sense. Frank Ticas dropping knowledge, talking papas live on a foolish Friday. What's up, Kelly Big Dog? That's right, Mr. Oxnard. Everybody that's here. We got 13 people watching. If you haven't hit the like, please do so. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, please. I do have a video. I will be sharing a video talking about common sense. I'm going to let it play a little bit. I'm going to let it play. Okay, I want you guys to watch it. As you already know, Frank Ticas, I always drop a little bit of a message, a little bit of knowledge, hoping everyone's having a fantastic Friday. First and foremost, shout out to ET. Shout out to ladies of Exposed Tube, the Exposed Tube Revolution. We don't stop. We're going to continue moving forward. Taco Stain, Hangman Stranger, Terps, Sooners with Exposing the White Yarda. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to Katie Frizzle, to everybody that's putting out their content, keeping your foot on these fools' necks. I'm going to go ahead and play this video. Okay, let me go ahead and share it. I want to talk about common sense. Now, they say common sense is the least common of all the senses. We're going to get to that. And before we do, I wanted to read this quote, which is, a very famous quote by Albert Einstein, who said, "Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results." Hey, what's up, Hugo Torres? Nice to see you, man. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody. Yeah, so that's insanity. When you expect to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results, that's insanity. We're going to talk a little bit of common sense. Let me go ahead and share this video with you guys. Let me put it up. Okay, it's how to develop common sense. Let me go ahead and set it up. I'm going to put it on full screen. I'm going to let it play through, and then we're going to talk about it. Let me go ahead and set that up right now. And here we go.
Mind reading present. How to develop common sense. Common sense is a good and practical judgment that is usually developed through life experience, not through any formal training. Developing common sense may seem like a difficult thing, but you can easily practice using common sense by being more vigilant and reflecting on the situation before you make a decision. As you develop more common sense, you'll be able to make smarter choices. Number 1.
All right, so let me pause right here. Let me pause right here. Hey, what's up, Facto? What's up? Talking Papas. It's all good for. Hey, what's up, Facto? We're over here, talking Papas. We're talking Papas. Let me go ahead and minimize this a little bit. All right, so the first thing we're going to look at is this, okay? Now it says compare the risk and benefits of a decision before choosing what to do. This is what we usually call the pros and cons. You're going to find that a lot of what's on this video is stuff that I've talked about on different videos because it all leads back to making the best decisions. It all leads back to having some common sense. You cannot expect to be the same person that you were when you were a teenager at this age and get shit done. If as a teenager you acted a fool, you saw the consequences of that. Now, as an adult, I would hope and I would expect that all of us have learned our lessons before we jump into any situation that could be put us at peril, put us at risk, or screw us over. Right? So I'm gonna go ahead and play this out. I just wanted to pause right there. That's right, Facto. Salute to everyone in the chat. Salute to everyone. 17 people are watching. Let me go ahead and play this. I'm gonna put it from the beginning. I'm gonna start over. And let's go ahead and watch this.
Mind reading present. How to develop common sense. Common sense is a good and practical judgment that is usually developed through life experience, not through any formal training. Developing common sense may seem like a difficult thing, but you can easily practice using common sense by being more vigilant and reflecting on the situation before you make a decision. As you develop more common sense, you'll be able to make smarter choices. Number 1. Compare the risks and benefits of a decision before choosing what to do. Look at the positive and negative outcomes that may arise from the decisions you make. You can do it mentally if you need to make a quick decision, or you can write down a list of pros and cons to determine what's best for you. Consider your options to see which one will give you the best results. For example, if someone offers you an alcoholic drink and you're too young, the reward may be that you can hang out with them and drink for free, but the risk is that you could get into trouble with the law. The best and most sensible decision is to refuse the drink. Number 2. Trust your initial feelings so that you don't analyze things too much. Sometimes, your instinctive reaction may be the best thing for you to do. Whenever you are faced with a decision, pay attention to what your instincts or first answer is. Think about the good or bad consequences that may arise from the decision, and if the decision seems to be the best decision, make that decision. For example, if someone offers you an alcoholic drink and you are a minor, your first thought is usually that you should not drink because you will get in trouble if you get caught. Number 3. Look at your situation from another perspective to think about it clearly. You may have noticed that giving advice to a friend seems easier than telling yourself the same thing. When you're faced with a difficult decision, take a step back and pretend that you're watching someone else in the same situation. Think about what you would say to them based on the decision that is best for them. If the decision is something you wouldn't ask a friend to do, then you shouldn't do it either. For example, if you find a jacket at school that doesn't belong to you, but you want to keep it, think about what you'd tell a friend if they found it. You'll most likely have them return it to where the item went missing, so you'll have to make the same decision. Number 4. Ask for input from someone you trust if you're not sure about your decision. It's okay if you don't know what to do. If you're faced with a difficult decision, reach out to a parent or guardian, guidance counselor, or friend you trust, and let them know the situation you're in. Talk to them about the decisions you may have made so you can get their input, because they may have more life experience and may have faced the same choice at some time. For example, you might ask, "Mom, I'm having a hard time making the right decision. Can we talk about this?" Only get feedback from people who have a good influence on you, because someone who makes a bad decision may not give you reasonable feedback. Gather input from your esteemed peers, bosses, etc. Number 5. Realize that it's okay to make the wrong decision every now and then. Everyone makes mistakes and decisions that they regret. But that doesn't mean everything is lost. If you realize that you have made a bad decision, reflect on it and recognize what choices you should have made for the best results. If you have had a similar decision in the future, make a better choice than the one you made last time. For example, if you choose to wear sneakers to the beach and there is sand in your shoes, the next time you go to the beach you will wear flip-flops.by. Reflecting on your actions and becoming more self-aware, you will begin to make better decisions and develop your common sense. Understanding yourself is the best way to predict reactions or outcomes.
All right. That's it. That's enough. Let me just stop sharing this real quick. Hey, what's up, Jay Slaughter? Don't reach out to a parent. Hey, listen. A lot of these things, a lot of these common sense practices are things that we've talked about. Right? These are things that I try to bring up to you in different conversations in different lives. But I think it's important to remember that it doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter how where you live, what you do for a living. You can still have issues making the right decisions. You know, like if you know that something doesn't work, if it didn't work for your friend, didn't work for your cousin, didn't work for someone you knew, you hear about it. Common sense will tell you that it's probably not a good situation to get involved with. But there are people that like to challenge situations and want to prove everybody wrong. I remember a long time ago, man. I'm gonna tell you guys a little story. Long ass time ago, because when I lived in the States, but we used to travel to El Salvador with my parents. We used to travel. I think we traveled like 3 or 4 times in the past when I was a kid. And one of the last times that I traveled down, I was like 16 years old. And my brother-in-law, my sister, like a bunch of friends, we went to this town where there was going to be a party, right? So there was a party at this town. It wasn't a town that we lived in, right? It was a different town. We knew people there, but it wasn't a place where we lived. And it wasn't like we knew a lot of people there. There was this dance, there was this big party, and two things happened that night. The first thing that happened was that my brother-in-law got drunk, got lost in the party, ended up getting into problems with someone from the locality. He beat him up, got locked up, got thrown into the little jail. And then they came and told us, hey, man, your brother in law just got into a fight outside with one of the locals. The cops took him away, not really to arrest him, but to keep him safe because they're like gathering outside. So what happened was he ended up hitting somebody who went and told other people, and then they came back. The cops took my brother-in-law and put him in the police station while everything calmed down. The thing is that someone went and told those guys that we were all together. So sure enough, the word was out that as soon as we went out there, they were going to try to get at us. So one of the girls that was a friend of ours, she like knew the people, like the party, everything, and her family had this like hotel. So they got us out through the back. We went into her hotel. They ended up finding out and they surrounded the hotel. So they were waiting outside for us to get out. And I remember one of the girls, she was going out with, she had been dating one of the guys that was with us. All of a sudden, she was interested in somebody else of the group. And they were talking. Well, when they were at the hotel, they ended up talking a lot. They took off on their own. And the guy that used to be with her started acting crazy, started crashing out. He started acting stupid. He's like, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave. And we're like, you can't leave, fool. Don't you know that they're waiting for us out there, man? They're waiting for us. If you go out there, they're going to kick your ass or worse. And he started reaching for the door. like grabbing it. So between two of us, we tackled him down, and I got mad. I'm like, "Hey, fool, you got to kick back. I'm not gonna get killed over your ass. You got to use common sense. Like, what's the point?" But the thing is that at that moment, he was he was working all of these emotions all at once. The fact that we were stuck in this hotel, that we were surrounded, he's watching this girl that he was, I guess he was still attracted. He still felt a way about her, talking to this other guy, got him crashing out. But what was going to happen if he opened the door? We were all going to be asked out. So what we had to do was we grabbed him. We kind of kicked his ass for a little bit, not too hard, just for him to like, hey, kick the fuck back. And he finally calmed down. And like 2 hours later, we were able to leave because other people showed up. They cleared the path. We had a driver. They put us in. They let my brother-in-law go, and we went home. But there were a lot of situations that happened at that moment that if people had been using fucking common sense, none of us would have been put in danger. Now, first of all, my brother-in-law getting drunk at a party in a town that was not our town and separating himself from the group. That was not using common sense. And what pissed me off was that he was older than me. He's already a man. He has kids. He's with my sister, but my sister was already in the States. No, his son, my nephew was in the States. He eventually ended up going to the States. But he was going through it. And because he was going through it, he put himself in the situation where he put himself at risk, but he also put all of us at risk over not thinking straight. Like, how are you going to go somewhere where you don't belong, where that's not your place of being, where you're not supposed to be there either, really? Get drunk and start fighting. And I don't know how many of us have ever been in a situation like that. I know I have. I remember one time, with some friends, we got invited to this quinceañera in another part of town. They were kind of looking at us like, hey, are you guys even supposed to be here? No, someone started going off, on one of my friends. He got upset. We all kind of got upset. And then the girl at the party, she kind of like turned her back on us. She's like, I don't know who these guys are. We're like, what? You invited us, you know? But the fact that we answered back and we're like, well, fuck these fools, was not really using common sense. But once again, when you're young, when you're trying to be about it, sometimes common sense goes out the window because you want to be down. That's why today is Foolish Friday. Foolish Friday. Frank Tica's dropping knowledge, talking papas live on a Foolish Friday. Some people are still walking around with that foolish energy, 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old. Like, what are you trying to prove? You got to use common sense. Common sense ain't common anymore. It is, bro, but there's a lot of people that just say fuck it, that don't think about shit. I'm Joker from one side, Tiny Locals. Yeah, that's not common sense, Mr. Oxnard. That's exactly a good example. Like, how are you going to claim to walk away from something? How are you going to claim to be different? I walked away. This is the song that he even has a song. That fool has a song for when he walked away. He said he turned his back, and this was the song. You guys can go check out that video. But come out here and then claim to be this. That's not common sense. That's kind of foolish, if you ask me. Because if you say you turn your back on something, how are you going to come out here and act as though you're still a part of it? Frank Tica's dropping knowledge, talking papas live on a Foolish Friday, man. Yeah, common sense is the least of is the least common of the senses, but it's only because we choose not to take the time to truly think about what the fuck we're gonna do. You got to think about what you're gonna do, what you're gonna get involved in. No, don't just jump the gun. We've talked about these things, but I see a lot of foolishness going on. One jump, all jump. Yeah, that's right, my child. That's how. Hey, that's how it was. But now, once you've got a family, once you've settled down, you can jump for your family, bro. Like, don't get me wrong. But why are you gonna be out here just doing dumb things? He's hit the. Yeah, please hit the like. Thank you so much, Mr. Oxnard. Hey, that's right, Nancy Punch Stockton in the MF motherfucking building. Joker was talking hella papas this morning. Yeah, I heard, I heard. I mean, look, if you're trying to get content, if you're trying to, get views, clicks and views, people will resort to what's easy, and drama is easy to gain traction. I've seen it, you know. I know that sometimes some of the drama has helped me helped me in the views and things like that, but not necessarily helped me in the long run. I particularly prefer not to go back and forth with people. I just put out my content. Now, if they want to go back and forth, that's different, right? It's a whole different thing. But common sense tells me that the best way to do this is just, hey, man, come out here, be myself, you know, do what I do. Be honest about what I talk about. Why? Because, there's always going to be a paper trail that you can go back on. And I want people to always be able to go back all the way to my first video and be able to say, you know what, this guy's been the same all of this time. You know, I hung it all up young at 23 when my wife got pregnant with my second kid. I had to step it up and raise my family. Hey, that's right, bro. That was common sense. I mean, common sense is exactly that. Is when you can't continue doing something because you know that by continuing to do something, by continuing to do that, it might be detrimental to you, to your family, to your plans, to your future, to your present, bro. You once you've got kids, once you got a family, you don't want to live looking over your shoulder constantly, thinking if today's going to be the day that either, I get popped, I pop, or someone blocks me up. That's a horrible way to live. It's a horrible way to live to constantly be looking over your shoulder. And if you've already decided to move on, if you decided to put it all behind you like you claim you did, don't come out here and start picking up where you left off. I mean, if you dropped it, if you left it, don't come back and retrieve it, because this time around, people aren't going to take too fondly to you acting that way. You're a 52-year-old motherfucking man coming out here acting dumb, acting foolish. Frank Dica's dropping knowledge, stocking papas live. Foolish Friday. Man, use some common sense. That's right, Mr. Oxnard. Firme tu, Frank Ticas, buenas tardes. What's up, Firme tu? That's right, Mr. Oxnard. Hugo Torres. Egyptian lover. What's up, Egyptian? Frank, the Ticanator chat. Much respect. Facts, Frank. That's like living a death every day. That's right. Look, I never did. Okay. Let me see. Yeah. You know, animals, a lot of times we don't give animals the credit that they deserve. Animals are intelligent. That's right. And an animal will not drink from a fountain that's been contaminated. Like if the animal knows, like went tasted the water and it was contaminated, they will never return to that fountain. Animals will not return to a fountain of contaminated water. They'll move on. They'll go look somewhere else. And that's why when you have pollution and all of these things, animals tend to have to migrate even longer. But that's a different video. That's a whole different story. And I might talk about that one day as well. But we sometimes don't exercise that very minimal intelligence that animals do. Like I've known dudes that end up going out with someone that is not good for them, or vice versa. I've known women that know that this person is not good for them, but for some reason or another, they think that they're the special ones that are going to make this person change. And now, maybe one out of a million times that'll happen, but usually that's not the case. We continue being who we are regardless of who's next to us unless we choose to value that other person. That's usually how it goes. But if you know, you've seen it once, you've seen it happen twice, you hear the rumors, people are telling you, hey, no, hey, that person's no good. I mean, you already know. You know who he was or she was going out with. You know what happened. For you to think, or for anyone to think, that they're going to be the person to change that person, no. That person needs to be alone. That person needs to be off limits until they figure out their shit. Because what's going to happen is that they're going to repeat and do the same thing with you that they did with everybody else. If you buy a brand of milk and it's been good, and then one time you buy that milk and it's spoiled, you may think it's a one off. Couple of weeks later, happens again. Another batch, spoiled milk. Same brand though. And then if you continue getting spoiled milk from that brand, will you continue buying that brand? No, it gets to a point where you have to think and say, if it happened to me once, if it happened to me again, and it's happening a third time, I can't expect that this fourth time it's going to be different. Once again, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If you're watching someone trip over that same stumbling block, what makes you think that you're going to be able to not stumble over it if you've already seen people doing it constantly? That's where common sense needs to come in. All right, I just saw a comment and I agree. Not only that, this bloated wreck he's bragging about is accidental murder. Yeah. Let's see. Animals frequently drink from contaminated water twice. It is if it's their only posture. Yeah, I understand. While have to tolerate water with germs as their immune system. That's correct. Wrong animals will drink any music. Well, yes, but if they can avoid it and if they can find a cleaner source, they're not going to come back to it. That's my whole point. Like you just proved it, though. You proved it by saying if it's their only option. That right there is the exception to the rule. If it's their only option, they may have to go back. But let's be real. If we're talking about relationships, that saying there's plenty of fish in the sea rings true. The problem is that we want things comfortably. We want things just to be handed to us. We want a DoorDash relationships. It's the truth. People want instant gratification. That's why they will resort many times to attracting the same type of people. So I'm not wrong. You just put an exception in it which made it different. But if an animal's drinking from a contaminated source and they find a clean source, they're not going to go back to that contaminated source unless what you're saying is true. See? Big difference. What I hate is when I get a drink from the drive-through with a meal and head home. And when I try to enjoy a good meal with a soda, yeah, oh yeah, I hate that, bro. But you know what happens then is this: that you know you're gonna have to buy a soda at home because a lot of times the combo is cheaper with the soda than without, right? So buy the combo, but know that you have to have something to drink at home. Usually that's what I do. And what I usually do, bro, I usually order like iced tea instead of soda because I know iced tea won't go flat. You know? And if I want soda, I'll just buy it at home. What's up, Egyptian? That's right, feed me a tube. Mr. Oxnard. Hey, that's right, Runner's Plug. So, Joker. Yeah, bro, they're crazy. They're crazy. Runners, he sneaked onto. Yeah, he sneaked on. Hey, so I'm glad. Hey, I'm glad I had a nice little conversation just now, and I enjoy having debates. But once again, once you add a difference, that's a whole different conversation. You know, because once you say if it's their only option, that disclaimer made it a whole different conversation, my friend. But nice try, nice try. Don't go back to that you know is no good, that you know failed, it didn't function. Let's see. Animals regularly migrate great distances to escape contaminated water source. I don't get what the point. Yeah, which is what I said, right? That animals will have to migrate. Sometimes they can't find another source. I mean, we can get into this, but that's not the point of the conversation. The point of the conversation is if you know something's bad, why are you going to go to it? Did the first life get deleted? They were talking about. I don't know, bro. I don't know which live you're talking about because I know I'm live. I caught about 10 minutes of his 2 a.m. rant. Then okay, okay, yeah. Man, look. If there was a way for me to know when that food goes on, maybe once in a while I might go live. It'll depend. Ernest Plug, I believe so. Anyways, yeah, I think the first live got deleted or got taken off or is being worked on. So, how do you get common sense? Well, first of all, you got to think about what you're going to do. You got to think about the pros and cons of what you're going to do. We've spoken about this, but I want to make it very clear. Because if you're out here acting a fool, if you're out here just, running amok, jumping into shit without thinking about it, don't be surprised when that shit comes back and bites you in the ass. You know? That's all I'm saying. If you say you walked away from something because it was detrimental to your health, because you felt that it was at war with what you believed in, how are you now going to come out here 9 years later, right? Because he put a video saying that 9 years later, I'm a totally changed man. You're not a totally changed man if you're out here claiming to be something that you no longer are. Doesn't matter how many beers you got in you, you know? Hey, common sense should tell you that if every time you drink, you're going to come out here and start gangbanging, maybe that's something that you shouldn't do, Common sense. Like, common sense should tell you that. Now, we're talking about grown men that come out here and put themselves out online. I had a conversation earlier this week with someone that, had my best interest at heart and was telling me about, how sometimes my content, gets certain people activated to where they want to put out content on me. I can't stop that. I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing to stop these people from doing what they're going to do. No, I'm not. Hey, this is, YouTube. You guys can create any content that you want. If you create content on me, I know you guys are going to do it. That's fine. You know, it is what it is. Common sense told me that. Common sense told me once I saw where the direction things were going, Common sense told me I had to prepare for that and I had to be okay with that. I had to be able to live with that. Because what do I always say? Is this sustainable? Will my channel be sustainable? Will it be able to sustain attacks? Will I be able to sustain criticism? I have to be able to accept criticism. I have to be able to understand that I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm okay with that. That is common sense. Knowing that, I knew that because I knew that, I said, okay, but I'm going to continue moving forward with what I do because I can pretty much get through with that. That's okay. Like I factored it into everything I'm already doing. I'm in Mexico time. It's different over here. All right, that's right, Facto. It's 6:11 over here right now, bro. Hey, happy Friday, Looney Tunes. Shout out to you, man. Wagon Wheel Road is currently experiencing rolling crash outs. That's right, Egyptian lover. That's despicable. Degenerate even claims supposedly sunshine. Wow, that's crazy, bro. Okay, I don't want. Yeah, yeah. I didn't see it. I can't really talk on that, but that's kind of crazy, bro. That's right, Looney, Egyptian, AJ Slaughter. That's right. I have a proposition, Frank. Maybe we can run it by ET as well. All right. Well, let us know. Yeah, I think he was talking about an ex, but he's got some fucking nerve. Might have to get extra personal. Yeah, man. Look. Look. Once again, common sense, right? Common sense. Common sense. Common sense should be what dictates the narrative. The narrative should be what dictates common sense. Why? Because we're talking about facts. If you talk about facts and your narratives are based on facts, people will be able to rewind and say, okay, that made sense. I understand why he was saying this. The circumstances may have changed years from now, but if people can go back and understand the context under which you spoke, it makes sense. But a lot of times, you fools are out here just talking gibberish and just coming up with the craziest shit that will not stand the test of time. It will not stand scrutiny. And if you're constantly being looked upon like, wait a minute, what you're saying is you're talking lies here. This is a lie. This is a provable, like we can prove that these are lies. Eventually people are gonna be like, yeah, I'll listen to you, but I know you're full of shit. Like I'll watch your content if I'm entertained by some of the shit that you do, but you're full of shit. You know, and I'm telling you right now, people can say that about me. Oh, you're full of shit, but I know that I come out here and speak my mind, bring you facts, bring you different propositions, and I'm not trying to fool with you. So at the end of the day, I'm cool with what I put out. I'm cool with the decisions that I make. I don't speak too much. I try to listen more. Obviously, here I'm talking papas, so you're going to hear me talking papas. Ftdk is dropping knowledge, talking papas live. On a Foolish Friday, you have to use common sense. Don't be foolish. If you were foolish back in the day when you were out there doing your thing, where you didn't care about anything, you didn't have family, you didn't have children, you didn't have a job, you didn't have nothing to look forward to. Maybe all you saw in front of you was a dead end or a cliff, the abyss. Then I could understand you being foolish. But if you've made it this far and if you've had the opportunity to get second opportunities at life, sorry for the redundancy, then you really need to use some common sense. Let's see. Since Jerry Vito is a victim of both him and the revolution, respects all women. Once he too puts him on stage, we should have a moment of silence. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have a problem with that. Let's see. Saludos, Frankie, Casi Chat. Sorry I'm late driving home now. That's right, Oakland. Nice to see you. Please drive safely. Egypt True, she was generationally victimized. He definitely doesn't honor her. While his acting and the fool on TikTok or YouTube, we are having a moment of silence for his defeat. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. But that would have to be like when ET goes live, so we could run it by him. ET and Chad, what's up, man? Nice to see you. Shout out to you. Shout out to you, Cali Big Dog. That's right, Ill Manner. Shout out to you as well, Jay Slaughter. Shout out to you, Egyptian, Cali Big Dog, everybody that's in the house today. Mr. Oxnard, everyone that stopped by, Machete, you know. Thank you guys so much for being here. Let me just catch up with this a little bit. We have Machete, we have Rosendo as well, Hugo Torres, Mr. Oxnard, Facto. Yeah, we're talking our Papa's Nightmare. We even had a troll in here too. Yeah, we're doing what we do all the time. That's right, Egypt. Yeah, Jay, it's good to see you. Anyways, you have to practice common sense as there is no excuse for acting stupid. I get, yeah, that's what I hear. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, that's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. I kind of wish I had that. I kind of wish I would have seen that, to be honest with you, ill mannered. And to me, when you come out here, you have to have some common sense. Like who? So I said this before on a couple of videos lives back. Not every cosign is a good cosign. Okay, even to be cosigned, there has to be some common sense. She was just a teen adolescent taken advantage by a grown pervert. Then George catches a case. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Oakland, that's right. Facto's good to see you, brother. That's right. Mr. Ox, saludos. Are common sense and street smarts the same thing or different? I think it's different, Looney Tunes. I mean, you can say to an extent it is like some street smarts could be common sense until you're constantly putting yourself at risk. If you know that you're always like 50-50 on every decision that you make, even when it's like street smart, I don't think it's common sense because you're always at risk. Frank and Chapin, the background still busy with chores. That's right, Miss Yaya. Nice to see you. Shout out to you. Facto, ill manner. That's right, ill manner. That's a good question, Looney. I'll let me expand on that, okay? But let me just get through these chats. That's right, Mags and Miss Yaya. So, anyways, street smarts can be common sense unless those street smarts push you into continuing to con and continuing to crime or continuing to do something that you know that if it catches up to you may be detrimental to you, whether it's you getting locked up, you suffering some kind of loss, you putting yourself in danger. I think that regardless of how street smart you can be, if you're constantly walking the fine line, you're not using common sense. So I don't think it's the equivalent. I think that you can have common sense in your street smarts, but street smarts doesn't automatically equate using common sense. Does that make sense? Frank Tica's dropping knowledge talking papa live on a foolish Friday. Some people are out here being foolish. I was watching this video because a lot of times we think like someone could come here and say, "Oh, well, I've already heard this before." Yeah, I'm sure you have. Just like a lot of life lessons, we've heard them once, twice, three times, four times, five times. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we're applying it to our life. Maybe we need to hear it 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 25 times, maybe all throughout life until it finally hits you that this thing that you've been hearing all of your life that you choose not to apply to your life may be what you needed to have done years ago to live better. It's common sense that you reject it. So, yes, a lot of life lessons will be repeated over and over, just like movies. You can go watch a superhero movie where pretty much the story is pretty much relatively the same thing. But if you change the characters, you change some of the scenarios, it's a whole new different movie. Even though the central plot, even though the central theme, even though the morality, the life lessons, whatever it is that they throw in the mix are the same. You know how many years or for how many decades some soap operas have been repeating the same tragic love story over and over and over and over again under a different name, but people will still watch. That's why when people criticize the knowledge that they can gain, they're not using common sense. If you're criticizing the knowledge that we put out there, the information that we spread out there with our videos, shout out to ET, shout out to Ladies of Exposed Tube, shout out to Terp, shout out to Sooners, Hangman Stranger, Taco Stain, Ghost, Runner's Pub, Katie Frizzle, everybody putting out content. Maybe you need to watch a Dubs video 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Maybe I do need to put them out here talking shit on TikTok, getting drunk, acting stupid. For all of you other people to understand that that is not the way you're supposed to live and that is not what you're supposed to be putting out here on YouTube. If you're not exercising and if they're not exercising common sense, I'm going to continue making content on that shit. Straight up. You're acting foolish. Foolish Friday. Frank Tica's dropping knowledge, stocking papas on a Foolish Friday. It is what it is. That's right. G Slaughter. Miss Yaya, that's right. Street smarts, I consider another term for social intelligence. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it depends because there are some street smarts where it like tells you what to do to avoid something. But if you're still practicing like a certain crime, a certain activity that could lead you to danger, it's still not really common sense. But I agree. Since the ET revolution moves with class and style, we'll try to honor Joker's Evita. All victims are to be honored and remembered, and she definitely was one by both. Yeah, I agree, bro. I agree. How we do it, I hear your idea. There may be other ideas. Maybe we could put it up, have people talk about it. Yeah, that's right, man. Because you got people on paper who should be street smart, but they're street tart. And people who should be square bar to hell is street smart. Yeah, I agree. That is exactly my point, man. That's exactly my point. No, there's a lot of people that should be street smart, but they are actively acting foolish, are actively acting foolish, are perpetual line steppers, habitual, perpetual line steppers. They step on lines, they overstep lines of decency, of respect, of common courtesy, of safety, of self preservation. Like, if you've already been told that how you're acting is foolish, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but obviously the source has to be credible too. Don't listen to just anybody, you know. People that don't have common sense will listen to anything or anybody and believe it instantly without questioning it, without looking at the source, without first investigating. That's why I don't do that. I always, what do? I just sit back, watch, and observe. And then we decide what to do. Inculcation, yeah, inculcation, instilling. That's right, Mags. Hey, good point, Frank. No, but but that's a very good question, Looney Tunes, because sometimes it could be mixed up. Like being street smart doesn't necessarily mean that you're using common sense. What it means is that you're finding ways to get away with shit without getting caught, without getting hurt, without getting beat up or shot at. you know, that's street smart. It's knowing how to walk that line. But there's dudes out here that don't even demonstrate street smarts. You know? And that's the scary part. Because I honestly think that when we were talking about something on the Discord. Shout out to everybody that's on the Discord with ET, man. And I was saying that a lot of people that are out here putting content out, it doesn't matter if they're 40, 50, 30, 20, they are not mature, and when you don't act maturely, when you're not thinking maturely, when you're making decisions as you made them when you were 12, 13, 15 years old, because you have that stunted development, your arrested development, you will make a lot of dumb choices over and over and over again. And we will see you, and you go out live and you do it live. Content will be created about it. Bro said inculcation. Much love and respect to all the real ones showing support to the channel. That's right, Machete. Shout out to you, bro. Thanks for your support. The Mannered Mag, that's right. Machete. He's not a troll, but a supporter on channel. The disclaimer. Ghost, we summoned thee. Hey, Ghost is a good person, man. Shout out to Ghost. Shout out to Taco Stain. Shout out to Hangman Stranger. Everybody that's a part of the movement, E. Mateo, Mags, Oakland Everything. Cloud got people acting like unpaid circus performers. The likes disappear, but the screenshots live forever. The consequences also that come from these things are sometimes instant, because we live in a world so connected and everything just happens in the blink of an eye, that sometimes consequences come just as fast. But sometimes they don't. Like and that's the whole thing about common sense. It's like, why fuck around and find out? Like, people live lives, they live FAFO lives. Fuck around and find out lives. They wake up with a chip on their shoulder, probably saying under their breath, I bet your bitch, I wish a bitch would. I wish a bitch would. And if you walk around life like that, trust me, you're going to make a lot of stupid decisions because you're not exercising common sense. You're letting yourself go through emotions. You're not thinking twice about what you're about to do. You're not thinking about the consequences. You're not thinking about who can be hurt in the process. Maybe you will end up more hurt than the other person that you're trying to hurt. Now, is that really wise? Is that really smart? I don't think so. Unless you know that by you sacrificing yourself that way, even if you are injured more than the other person, but maybe you're protecting other people that won't get touched, then that might be a common sense decision. But if you're going to get like the worst of it, and this person is going to be able to continue and cause damage to everybody else, then it's not a good decision. Sometimes you have to walk away to fight another day. It's not always whatever's clever, you know? Sometimes you just gotta stop acting foolish. Frank Tica's dropping knowledge, talking papas live. Foolish Friday, man. Look, once you get to a certain age, you really need to think about what it is that you're gonna talk about, what it is that you're gonna say, how it is that you're gonna pop off, even how you respond to people. You really need to sit back, watch, and observe. Don't jump the gun. Use some common sense. Ill manner, stop with the big words. I only went to high school, bro. Shout out to all the fake ass trolls keeping the yada. Yeah, man. You know what's up, Machete. That was all Jay Slaughter. I had to look it up. Yeah, Machete. That's right. Joker is highly resistant to edification. That's another thing about common sense. Common sense should always lead you towards the positive. It should always lead you to something that's constructive, something you can build on. Maybe not right away, but you're setting the steps for something else in the future. But if all your actions destroy anything that you could set up or build up for the future, are you really, really smart? Do you really have common sense? Because a lot of people like to come out here and act like they're the wisest people on, on YouTube. Not me. I just let you know when I have a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of a message, and I drop it. But I know because I've tested it. It's been tested. I've been reading up on it. I've been seeing it. I've applied it. I know it works. That's what I come out. That's what I share with you. And there are other people that just go off the top of the head and they think that they're funny. They think that with their gift of gab, they're going to convince you of how intelligent they are. But you're looking at the decisions that they make, at the people they surround themselves with, at all the things that they do. And you're like, man, this person is a fool. They're acting foolish. There's no intelligence there. You can speak intelligently, but if your actions demonstrate the contrary, you're only fooling yourself. Foolish Friday. Frank Tica's dropping knowledge, talking papas. Live. Gotta use some common sense. That's right, El Manor. Free Wendy. Yeah. Oh man, she's first one in, last one out. Not today though. If her if her phone is charged. Not today, Kelly Big Dog. She definitely lost her charger. Yeah, probably. They probably hid it from her. They might be hiding it from her. You never know. That might be the common sense thing to do every now and then. Street smarts alone don't get you far on YouTube. Respect, discipline, and real content outlast loudmouths. Yeah, chasing attention. Yeah, bro, but hey, man, listen. There's a niche for everyone, but we just have to understand that what is it that you're trying to put out there, and if you know that what you're putting out there is putting you at risk, is making you a target, like what are you doing, bro? And I'm talking about like real problems, real situations, real life death situations, or sentimental, real life, emotional relationship type situations where it's like, are you for real? Like, are you not seeing who you're getting involved with? Like, I trip out, for example, with like stars that will marry like the same woman, or will date the same woman, or vice versa. Like women that will date the same man. And this man has gone through a bunch of their friends, or vice versa. This girl has gone through a bunch of their friends, and they develop feelings. That's why you do not play with people. Don't get into a relationship too fast. Don't jump into bed with just anybody. Because the heart lies. The heart lies. The heart can lie to you. Your emotions can lie to you. That one, you know, moment of intimacy can wreak havoc on your mind, on your heart, on your soul, to where you develop emotions and feelings for someone that isn't right for you. Ghost is a gem. Yeah, Ghost is a good person. Is there a statute of limitations? I don't know, bro. I think there might be. I think there might be. Fuck it Friday and fuck does and that's right. Hey, it's Foolish Friday, man. Let me catch up with some of these chats. Joker swept around so much and found out so little. Yeah, exactly, man. Machete facts. That's right. Jay, what's going on today? That's right. Let's see. Jay Leonard fucked around, found out his girl had a little son. Jay Slaughter, good lord, yeah. JJ Slaughter, man. See, Egypt, just a hunch. Damage is going to be harder to absorb with a hangover from. Yeah. Yeah, Jay's going to have to water bottle. Probably them water boys. Hangover definitely strong today. Panda eyes intensify. Leonard was meant to be a struggling used car smell. Was meant. SARS. Even some of Skittles' loyal subs last night on Joker's Way were asking Skittles, really? Yeah, he does look bad. Maybe we need to pull Wendy aside. Yeah, maybe. The neighbors unplugged my homegirl Wendy's extension cord. Love to hear it. 70% of viewers on YouTube bounce from channel to channel on YouTube to keep up with the drama. Guilty of it. That's, yeah, but that's okay. Like, I understand, bro. I understand that drama sells. I understand that. No, even though I don't personally like it, I know that sometimes when I've gotten into some drama, I've gotten views. But I particularly don't want that to be the case with my channel. I don't, you know, people bring drama to me. I don't want to bring, I don't particularly care for it. No, and common sense tells me that that's not going to stop because of the type of content that I put out. It is what it is, you know? But you need to know these things. Like, if you don't like to be, the target of trolls, if you don't want to be ridiculed, if you don't want people to develop feelings, if you don't want to develop feelings around how people respond to the content that you put out there, maybe this is not for you. Maybe you shouldn't be putting content out there. If you are easily provoked, if you are easily brought to jealousy, if you are easily made to lose your composure constantly, I mean, one time we understand, like, I can understand someone losing their composure online. I can understand it. I can understand someone having a bad day, having a bad video, having a bad live. I can understand it. Sometimes things happen. Sometimes we invite people into our lives, like I'm doing right now. If you want to jump on, I'm sharing the link once again. You guys already know it's an open panel. Okay, let me go ahead and pin it. It's pinned right there. Sometimes you could have someone jump on your live that can ruin your life. We've seen it happen. But then you learn from that. You're like, okay, well, that's not going to happen again. Now, next time, before someone just jumps in, I'm going to make sure that I know who it is. I want to make sure that I know what their intentions are before I open the door and let them on my live. And I have to be very quick to be able to take them down and shut them down if they, get outside of the zone that I want them in. It's Foolish Friday, Fulias, and Fulios don't be foolish, fool. That's right. I think Skittles' girl is actually his caretaker. The doctors required him to have since he's all washed up. Yeah, I don't know, bro. He looks bad, but he also sounds manic as fuck. He's back to telling tall tales of the yard and dropout hunting and reading comments, clowning jokes. Yeah, I know. I've seen that too. And I think that that is foolish. I think that Skittles, if you're watching, you are once again putting yourself back at risk of doing some stupid shit. But hey, man, you're an old man. You're just not exercising common sense. You're being foolish. Frank Tica's dropping out of stocking papas on the Foolish Friday. I do not understand it. I do not get the attraction of coming on to a live and just saying the craziest shit, doing the craziest shit. I don't get it. With no regards, no self awareness, no regard to others, no regard to how people view you, how people will look back on your legacy, on what you do, on what your channel looks like. If you're out here putting content, you're out here putting yourself out there. You know, you can't be foolish about that. Skills is blissfully unaware that this Jay definitely was wilding out. Really? Well, I wanted to, yeah. Squad runs her own lives. First 10 minutes, I thought I was watching. Yeah, I don't know, bro. Frank, they both old men. I mean, I'm an older man, bro. I'm an older man, you know? Like, I thought about that too. Because before I started my channel, I saw that there was a lot of young people, but I also saw that there were people around my age, and that made me think, okay, I could put out content for people around my age. No, and I decided to do this because of that. It took some common sense to come out here and keep my channel as is. I can do that. That's right, Max. Second 10 minutes, I thought I was watching a Danny Trejo podcast. Man, you're back. Imagine 20 years from now, their grandkids watching their old lives. Imagine the people watching their lives now. Like imagine their family looking at like going and watching and maybe not even wanting to watch because they're like, man, I already know my dad's full of shit. I already know Theo's fucking over there acting stupid. You know? I already saw Theo over there fucking begging for beer. I already saw my dad over there begging for DoorDash, begging for a six pack, begging for a Galaxy. Like, is that using common sense? Those don't sound like $1 million moves to me. $1 million moves are like getting my channel to blow up so much that now I have these sponsors, and these sponsors, are even want to put a commercial in my video. They want me to read some shit out. Man, that is $1 million move. If I can get enough sponsors to back my videos up, to back up my content, what I'm putting out there. Frank Tica's dropping knowledge, a little bit of a message, a little bit of knowledge. Somebody wants to sponsor, that's $1 million move. That's common sense. Common sense is not coming out here on TikTok thinking you can be hardcore and beg at the same time. Because you're going to put people off. You're going to disrespect people with that attitude, which is exactly what you've done. And now TikTok will crash your little lives, your little battles every now and then. Because you're constantly going against the rules. So if you know that you're on a platform that has rules, common sense should tell you to stay within the margins so that you don't get blocked. Now, if you don't care, you don't care. That's a whole different thing. But if you do care, and if your $1 million moves, your channels are a part of that, how are you going to come out here acting foolishly? How are you going to come out here getting drunk? Having people report you because people report them. That's why on TikTok they'll shut them down. I felt old by my late 20s. Imagine Joker's daughter pervert. I don't think so, man. I mean, seeing Joker, yeah, exactly, bro. Janet's probably younger than Joker's daughter. Maybe. I don't know. Imagine the people watching their lives and the families that their retired viewers execute the horror. Yeah, bro. Someone reach out to better help. Right, T.S. Liquors Million. Hey, imagine what's up with Joker calling you? Yeah, that's, I don't know, bro. I think he speaks, from experience. Maybe that's how he was treated, or he treated some other man in his life. I don't know. That's what I think. That's kind of weird, bro. It's not very thuggish, ruggish bone of him. And knowing who E.T. is not common sense either. Frank Tica's dropping now is talking Papa's live on a Foolish Friday. People be acting foolish, and we have to stop acting foolish. Don't act on impulse. If you act on impulse, you're acting foolish. Don't act on impulse. If the information that you're getting is coming from a sketchy, sus individual, use some common sense and don't believe it. Don't take shit from weird people, from, you know, detestable, despicable human beings. Don't take their narratives at face value. Come on. You got to use some common sense. Exercise common sense. You know? How are you going to believe or trust what someone says that they will do when you know that they never stick to their word? If you're in a relationship with a cheater, you know they're a cheater. You know they cheat. They've cheated. They met you cheating. They were with someone, and when they met you, you got with them. They were cheating on that person with you. What makes you think they're not going to cheat on you? Or why act surprised when they finally do? Common sense should have told you that inviting this person into your life and being a couple with a cheater will probably raise the possibilities of being cheated on by 80%. I don't know, maybe more. But don't act surprised. Don't be outraged. Don't be out here clutching your pearls. If someone gave you a deadline once in which they were going to pay you back, maybe they owe you money, gave you a deadline, and they overstepped that boundary. So you tell them, hey man, where are you going to pay me that money? Man, times are rough right now, this and that, woo, woo, woo. Really? Okay, all right, I'll be patient. A month goes by. You call them up. Hey, you got that for me, bro? I mean, it's been over a month now. I waited for you a few weeks. You didn't pay me. It's been a month. And then they get at you with, man, you know what? Times are rough. At one point, will you realize that you're not going to get paid back? So at that moment, you have to decide what would be the common sense thing to do. Are you going to continue charging this person that money that they owe you? Are you going to continue hitting them up? Are you going to take steps to assure that they pay you back? And those steps could get pretty crazy. Or do you decide, you know what, man? Keep that money, bro. God bless you. But know that you will never let them borrow money ever again. That would be common sense. Me, I would be the type to be like, you know what, man? After the second time, you know what, man? Don't trip, bro. Don't pay me. I still leave it like that. I'll chalk it up as a loss for me. But that's experience that I gained to not trust this. It was expensive information. That was expensive intel. Man, I let you borrow $200 that you can't pay me back, but hey, man, I just bought this information that you're no good at paying people. You know, common sense tells me now that I'm never going to let you borrow another dime because I don't want to go through this. I'd rather just give you money. Here's 20, fool. Just leave me alone. No, you don't got to pay me back. Yeah, still, that's it. I mean, because common sense tells you if this person still owes you money, and they're going to come around and ask you for money, you're going to go and lend them money again? Come on. Common sense will tell you not to do that. A lot of the times we're dealing with people that common sense has already told us we should cut off. A lot of times we're dealing with people that common sense told us we shouldn't even be talking to. But once again, what is insanity? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. That's foolishness. That's foolish. Practicas dropping papas, talking papas. Practicas dropping knowledge, talking papas live on a Foolish Friday. You're foolish if you think that what other people have already experienced, what other people have already gone through in this type of situation, or with this individual, or with this company, or in this situation, this law facing this situation is going to be different for you. Like, what makes you think you're special? You cannot change anyone. You're not going to turn a cheater into a loyal person. You have to assume that this cheater will continue to cheat and just stay away from that person. The same with liars. If this person lies, continues to lie, is always caught in a lie, how will you take what they put out as a narrative for face value and even question, like, why are they saying this? They're fucking liars. Why do you believe a liar? Like, that does not make sense to me. That is not common sense. Do not take what other people say. If you already know they've lied, if you know that they're liars, you know they're trolls, you know they're all of these things, why are you going to take what they say at face value? That is not common sense. You have to exercise common sense. Straight up. Let me get through some of these. Yeah, baby thugger. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was so different. Wow, that's crazy, bro. That's not common sense if you're trying to walk away from a life of crime, right? I mean, how can you say you're walking away from a life of crime, yet when you're out here, you're advocating for criminal activity? It doesn't make sense. That is not common sense. That's right. The young man almost got turned out in Vegas by Joker, according to sole sources. Yeah, no, but we also had him. We also interviewed him, Egyptian. We have an interview with him. ET interviewed him. As a matter of fact, I put out some videos about that as well, and he co-signed it. He liked it. So yeah, it's true. We know it's true. Baby Thugger should drop a song called Via. That's right, Oakland. Everything. When I loan money, I count that I won't get it back. If I get it back, consider myself lucky. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Sometimes people, like, I've had situations, Oakland, where someone will say, "Hey man, can you let me borrow 200 bucks?" I'm like, "Nah, but you know what? Here's 40, man, and but you don't have to pay me back. No, go get the one. If you can borrow the 160, it's less for you to pay back. Here's 40. Yeah, that's it. I'm not gonna, maybe I can't give you the whole amount that you were asking to borrow, but here's 40 bucks, and you don't have to pay me back. There, I helped you out. I did you an even bigger favor because I'm not going to charge you for that. That's free money for you. So now you only have to come up with 160. I'd rather do that, and that to me is more common sense than to let someone borrow money and expect them to pay me back when they say they are. Because sometimes if they're borrowing money, that means they're having some type of economic difficulty. Maybe they're not making enough money. Maybe they have other expenses that they're trying to cover. That's why they need to borrow money. What makes me think that their economic situation is all of a sudden going to change unless, right, they come and tell you, "Hey, man, you know what? I got a new job. Here you go." Oh, cool. Hey, I won the lottery. Oh, cool. Hey, I came up. Oh, cool. All right, cool. Maybe now your situation changed. But until that happens, if someone's borrowing money from you, and it's not once, it's a few times, their monetary situation is probably going to be the same for a while, unless they do something different with their lives, right? Unless they do something different. Because if they're still doing the same thing, expecting a different result, that's insanity. It's foolishness. Got to use common sense. Not to lend to a person who won't pay you back. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Freedom at Tube. I think he had a song about dissing Joker. Okay. That's right, Max. I won't lend nobody money. Yeah, I do, bro. I lend people money. Like here in my house, sometimes we lend each other money. Like, hey, listen, let me borrow 20. I got you at home. Or let me get borrow 20. I got you. Yeah. Here at home, we lend each other money all the time. Because sometimes I don't have cash, or sometimes I forgot my card, you know. But like other people outside, I'll just here's 20 bucks, bro. Here's 10 bucks, bro. I can't lend you all that you want me to lend you, but I can give you this. That to me is more common sense than anything else. Inculcation without edification. Egypt, the new ringtones. That's right, Mags. I'm saying, hey, Moni, happy Friday, Moni. Hey, shout out to you, man. Shout out to you, Moni. Hey, God bless you. Thank you so much for your donation. May the Lord multiply it a thousandfold with a, you know, great salary. I know you work, so I hope you continue to have work, to have good health, not just you, but your kid, your husband. I want you to live a happy life, Moni. Have fun, man. Have fun. Life is too short But thank you so much for supporting. Thank you so much for being here. Happy Friday. That's right, Egyptian lover. Who's a liar? They be like, loan me 20. I'd be like, bye, Felicia. Egypt. That's right. Oakland, everything. That's right, Moni. Hey, what's up, Exposed Tube? I send my love and respect to everyone. Hey, shout out to you, man. Shout out to ET, ladies of Exposed Tube, everybody that's down, everybody that's watching. I got 26 people watching. That's a good number for me. If you haven't hit the like, please do so. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I did drop a short today. So if you haven't seen it, please go watch. I did drop a short today, of Exposed Tube's biggest fan, Exposed. Hey, Exposed, you got fans, Exposed Tube? You got international fans. But there's one. You got one main fan that he wants you to go live when he goes live, he wants you live, bro. Loves the attention. That's right, Oak Ill Moni Macaroni. That was nice of you. Yeah, but hey, Moni's the home girl. A lot of people question Moni and the friendship I was trying to build. But hey, Moni, you know what's up, man. That's right, ET. Feed him it. That's right, ET in the revolution. Love and respect. That's right, ET. Love and respect right back, bro. Shout out to the explosive. Do we have battle? Is there battle boxes today, ET? Let us know. Let us know. Let me know, bro. If we got battle boxes today. That's right, ET. So we can promote that. Happy Friday to Explosive Family. That's right, CBD. Let's get it. Yeah, let's get it, man. We get it every single day. Moni shooting from the block. Oakland. That's right. That's right. Hey, salute to everyone. Hey, I just want you guys to know. That's right, Unknown. Shout out to you, Unknown. Thanks for stopping by, man. Hey, if it rains in California, it's blame it on Moni. Ballin' ass Moni. Yeah, not even. If it rains in California, blame it on Moni. That's all I gotta say. That's all I'm gonna say. If it rains, blame it on Moni. Blame it on the rain. I don't want to cook. Yeah. Shout out to Moni, exposed to true crime. Let's get it. Hey, that's right. I know you're. Hey, I see you, Moni. I see you. Moni, order something for the fam tonight, Friday night. ET, yeah, order something. ET, true crime, let's go. Hey, I saw that be careful with Taco Bell. The lettuce and the vegetables in Taco Bell are spreading that like diarrhea. So, hey, be careful. Don't eat Taco Bell right now. ET, I had an idea. Frank can tell you. No, go ahead. Let ET know. Egypt, my man's eats for three. Battle box. Okay, battle boxes. So there's battle boxes tonight. Hey man, you guys know what's up. Moni is good people. Yeah, Moni's good people, man. She was just a little misunderstood. A little misunderstood. I mean, she's little and misunderstood. She was a little misunderstood. Moni, luckily she's gonna be cooking for him. That's right. Tiki, you're by the tsunami. Hey, by the tsunami alert. Yeah, did you see? I sent that out. Now we're cool though. I'll dance. I'll dance right now. She showered. No. It's because of her little dance today. You see me read the script. I can't stop laughing. Yeah, that's right. Oh, yes, this afternoon. Good to see you, sister. That's right. Hey, man, listen. I want every single one of you out there living your best life. But in order for you to live a much better life, you have to make much better decisions and not be out here acting foolishly. And be smart. I mean, look, it's hard to cut people out sometimes. I know it's hard. It's hard. It's difficult. No, especially if we care for them, especially if we're attracted to them. We feel a certain way about someone. We think that person's going to change. We think our love is going to make the difference. Man, that's some bullshit. Straight up. And that ain't no Papas. Frank Tica's dropping knowledge, talking Papas live. Foolish Friday, foolishness, insanity is to do the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. If you already saw this person go out with a few people and every time that relationship ends up in some bullshit, how do you think you're just going to go and make a difference in that person's life? That person is a walking wreck. And common sense should tell you that no matter how fine they are, no matter how much your body is longing for that, it's a no no. You're going to mess up. Okay, you know better. That's right. Jay Slaughter. I wouldn't be sure about that. Y'all taught me not to act so foolish online. That's right, Moni. You see, you see. Hey, we keep our word. We keep our word. Hey, we're consistent with the message. But people want to question that shit all the time. You know? You cannot be out here acting recklessly and expect shit not to pop off. That's not common sense. That's insanity. You know? If you got fooled by someone, trust me, they're going to try to fool you again. That you just have to understand it. Maybe they changed their life around. Well, good for them. But I'm not going to give that person another opportunity to screw me over. A lot of times people, maybe they won't cheat on you as far as like a physical, like they might not cheat with you like going out with other people, but they'll cheat on you with preferring other things over you. They might prefer to spend time with their family. They might prefer to do this. They might prefer work over spending time with you. That is a form of cheating. You have to understand it. Don't expect this person to change just because you're over here wishing on your lucky stars and thinking to yourself, my love will make this person change. No, it won't, bitch. No, it won't. You best believe it won't. The sooner you understand that you cannot change anybody, the faster you better start cutting them out of your life. Straight up, straight up. Don't be foolish. Frank Tica's dropping knowledge, talking papas. Live. Foolish Friday. Look, I told you about a friend of mine, man. I told him, quit your job, bro, because your job is going to be the same every single day. Sometimes it's going to be a little worse. Sometimes it's going to be a lot worse. Sometimes it's just going to be normally bad the way it normally is bad. It's bad enough on a normal day. And if you're already stressing out, if you're already feeling like, fuck this job, what makes you think that 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, 4, 5, 6 months from now, it's going to get better? It's not. So if you know that going to this job, like if you wake up in the morning like, I don't want to go to work, and that's your mantra every day, and you've done your best to change your attitude, you've done your best to do your best at work, to do everything by the book, to be like straight and narrow, the best employee, you're there on time, you even give them time, and it doesn't get any better. What's insanity? Insanity would be to keep going back to that awful ass job every fucking day thinking something's going to change for the better. No, it's not. It's not. It's not going to change. I'd rather be cute than fine. Let me catch up with some of these chats. Little Miss Anthropic. Speaking of body, have you seen Joker's 100 and Low Speeds? Yeah, man, it's crazy. The build of an 80-year-old. Yeah, I'm not going to be on much too longer, but, a few more minutes. Just want to catch up with these chats. Elvis cheating on me for a grab. I don't know. Is a phase. I'm for real. Yeah. Joker walks like he needs a walker or cane. He does. His liver, his organs are gonna. Man, look, you cannot think that sitting down in front of a computer all day, every day, drinking, doing no exercise, getting no sunlight, getting no fresh air, not getting out any kind of exercise whatsoever is healthy for you. Common sense should tell you that you'll eventually end up dying in that vegetative state. Straight up. That's why you got to do a little bit of a workout. Go walk. Go, get some fresh air. Take your shoes off. Go touch grass. Shit. Facts. I've been saying fuck my job since last year. Hey, listen, Miss Yaya and Mr. Oxnard, both of you. You guys are some of the most intelligent people I know. You should be already thinking your next step, your next move to something better. As your brother, I'm going to pray for that, Miss Yaya. I'm going to pray for you, for your job security, for your economy, for your health, for God to open doors and provide you that job that you deserve. Not that you need, that you deserve. Probably embarrassing being cheated on with someone who is neither. Right? That's even worse. Miss Yaya, I've been saying fuck your. That's a good one. Yeah, me too. Me too, Miss Yaya. Fuck your job. Practicas dropping knowledge, talking papas live on a foolish Friday. The only thing that changes there are the managers every 3 6 months. Yeah, look, managers are the easiest to get away. You can get rid of a manager, but you can't get rid of the worker because the worker is the one doing the job. You can, but see what does that tell you? That should tell you a lot. No manner, man. That's right, Jay Slaughter. Shit, yeah. Oh shit, never thought of that. Yeah, that's right. Moni, let's see. We do not cheat on women for grab. They cheat out. Cheat us out. It's just a waiting game for me, bro. I know, I know. Thanks for the kind words of wisdom, brother Frank. Oh man, you know what's up. Hey, I pray for you guys, man. You guys are my family. And I only want what's best for you. Trust me. Look, I went through that cycle. Like I look. I loved my job, like what I used to do, but the pressure, the stress, the responsibility was too much. It was getting to me. I thought I really felt like I was growing old every month. Like every month felt like a year to me. And I had the same feelings every morning. I would wake up like, man, fuck this job. Like, fuck. But I prayed. But not only did I pray, I started learning things. I started, watching YouTube videos, learning things and reading things online, articles and things like that, different types of information. And I started really, really developing a lot of the knowledge that I developed in order to get the jobs that I have now. In order to be able to work from home and do, I know at different places, different countries, different jobs, we different pay to consider, but there's things out there, and you really sometimes you just have to look. You have to take the time and say, okay, I really need to learn this. If learning this is going to get me a better paying job, if doing this is going to get me out of this and get me somewhere else, then that's what I need to do. It takes time, it takes sacrifice, it takes dedication. But if you have a good support system, if everybody in the house knows what the deal is, knows what the plan is, everybody aligns. That's kind of what happened with me and my family. No, when my academy closed down because of the whole COVID thing, we had to regroup, and I had to replan and rethink. And I started to say, you know what? I'll just do this online, and I'm going to do this. And I started beefing up my knowledge, beefing up my curriculum, and I started looking for better jobs. And that is what we need to do. We need to use common sense. If we know that this is becoming an issue, we have to proactively start looking for something better. See, managers are fucking worst, least useful, most sociopathic, fucking orders. That's right. Let's see, getting a feel right now. All right, that's good. Do not think that you will make someone change. That's foolishness. Nobody changes for anybody else unless they believe that it's important for them to change. They have to want it, they have to believe it. No, I get a lot of people that call me and like, hey Frank, I have my daughter. She want, I want her to learn English. And once they tell me I want her or I want him to learn English, the first thing that I say is, okay, but do they want to learn English? Because if you start paying for their classes, because I can say yes and I can accept that money. I'm like, all right, cool, go ahead, pay me. But I already know that if it's a kid or if it's someone that doesn't really want to learn English, I'm going to have a hard time. I'm being paid to take on a problem. It'll be a problem because I am working with someone that does not want to learn English and their parent is forcing them. Common sense tells me the minute that they say, well, I just want them to learn. Okay, but do they want to learn? And I have that little like one on one with whoever the student is going to be, and I can already tell that they don't want it. They're kind of being forced into the situation. I'll tell them, nah, nah, you know what? They need to want to learn English. It has to come from them. The drive has to come from them. Because if it's you forcing them into these English classes, you're going to force me to start being hard on them because I already know that they're going to get distracted. I already know that I'm going to have to be like, hey, can you repeat that one more time, please? No, but I need you to do it better. Can you repeat? No, say it this way. Say it. And I will have these kids repeating the same thing for 20 minutes against their will, all because I wanted to make that money. Not all money is good money. And when situations like that arise, you have to use common sense. Yeah, they're going to pay me this, but in the long run, is it going to be a headache for me? Is that money going to be worth what I'm going to have to deal with? Maybe not. Tell me how you really feel about them. Yeah, that's right. Let's see. Let me catch up. They have to follow orders because they don't know shit. Yeah. Kid as managers always need to ask their underlings how to do their job, but make way more and are first to back up. Yeah, pretty much. They have to keep the status quo. J Slaw, you're literally my man. Uh, Won't he make sure that footpath isn't full of piranhas like Leonard's? Just tell me how you really feel about them. That's right. I'm only doing my hands though. But I'm different. Cool boss vibes. Yeah, J Slaw is more like a stage mom, like a soccer mom. Would you take my donation if it was cartel money? Nah, hell no. Would you like Johnny California from? Look, Moni, that's a good question, and I'm going to tell you what. Money laundering is a real thing. Money laundering exists, you know, and there have been offers to launder money that I'll be like, fuck that shit, straight up. Not all money is good money. You have to recognize that. You have to understand that. And the more you use common sense to stay clear away from scams and illegal business transactions, the better off you will be. That is where you need to use common sense. Yeah, I missed that episode. Moni, stop debriefing. All right, guys, I'm gonna start shutting it down. I just want to thank everybody that was here today watching my live. I still have 19 people. Thank you so much. If you haven't hit the like, please do so. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Moni, thank you so much for the donation once again, and thanks to everybody that's been in the chat that's been supportive of me. I appreciate every single one of you. We have battle boxes tonight, so please stay tuned for battle boxes with the Exposed Tube Revolution. We're gonna keep doing what we do. It don't stop. Hey man, shout out to Mike Morello and his family. We will continue to have sunshine in our thoughts and in our prayers. Thanks to everybody. I hope you all have an excellent rest of the evening. See you at the battle boxes. And if not, until next time, peace.